Picture four people in four different rooms of a house. One is watching the barometer, one is watching the trees, one is watching the birds, and one is watching the light. On an ordinary day, they report four completely unrelated things. But when a storm is coming, all four suddenly start saying the exact same thing at once. Nobody in the house has actually seen the storm, but their sudden agreement is the storm. Now change the setup. Instead of four people in four rooms, put one person in one room and ask him four different questions about the exact same thing he's watching. You are getting a single opinion delivered four times. When those four answers agree, it feels exactly like a chorus of independent witnesses, but it actually carries zero new information. Researchers at The Lagging Truth mapped exactly where the boundary between a real signal and an echo sets. Genuinely independent watchers give you a real signal. Copies of one watcher give you nothing. The math is absolute here. Adding more voices only generates information if their vantage points are physically or logically isolated. Without that isolation, consensus is mathematically empty. To prove this, the researchers did something scientists rarely volunteer for. They wrote down in advance exactly where their own method should fail, and then went out to check both halves. Where it should work, it worked. Take the sun, a telescope counting sunspots, a radio dish measuring solar flux, and ground stations reading magnetic disturbances. Three completely different machines agreeing right before the sun turned violent. Then they built a trap for themselves. They took one sunspot data series and dressed it up as four sensors. The series, its changes, its swings, and its acceleration. One watcher wearing four hats. As predicted, the signal vanished. You cannot slice a single data source into multiple pieces and expect it to predict the future. A properly calibrated system will always reject manufactured independence. The primary showcase applied this to four respected national surveillance systems that all track the exact same seasonal flu virus. Because this is a strongly seasonal system, the theory mandated that combining these four identical metrics would fail. High agreement between them only marks the highly predictable middle of the flu season, completely missing its turning points. Every single pairing flunked. A theory that always wins is hard to trust, but a theory that points to a specific scenario, says here is precisely where I break, and then breaks there on time for the stated reason, is telling you it understands its own limits. This research was published as Multi-Sensor Convergence as a Regime Detection Signal. It comes with a companion piece written in plain English, and both are available at The Lagging Truth. The researchers maintained this standard through peer review. They withdrew an entire battery of economic tests because a single, loud data series was artificially drowning out the others. In another case, a weather test they registered to fail refused to do so cleanly. Rather than hide it, they permanently recorded their own prediction in print as not cleanly confirmed. Both of those admissions made the paper smaller. True analytical rigor is not defined by unyielding success, but by the explicit public mapping of a system's limitations. There is one finding in this data that should make you uneasy. During severe financial market panics, sensors across the system appear to agree dramatically. But if you separate the real agreement from the agreement manufactured by the panic itself, the genuine part averages under 1%. The chorus is almost entirely an echo of the chaos. This translates into a strict rule for evaluating information in your own life. Whenever multiple sources agree, the useful question is never how many agree. The question is, are these actually independent? Four analysts presenting recommendations based on the exact same underlying report are just one analyst. Four slick corporate dashboards fed by a single centralized database are just one dashboard. And a committee that all sat through the same presentation before casting their vote is really just one opinion sitting in very expensive chairs. Agreement among truly independent watchers is information. Agreement among copies of one watcher is just noise wearing a costume.